Good morning, y'all. Jeff Garcia here from Dreaming of Your Next Hook Set with a little message. First of all, I'd like to take the time out to say thank you to our military for everything that they do and their hard work. I can't say it enough. Thank you very much for everything that you do. You keep America safe. Thank you. Another thing, I'd like to also dedicate this video to all the people fighting cancer. That is a serious disease that is being fought every day. Children, men, women, they're fighting it every day. So I dedicate this video to you guys. And last but not least, I dedicate this video to the kids. I'm going to be demonstrating bobbers today and putting you on the road of a better opportunity of catching multi-species with a certain bobber as opposed to the traditional bobber. The traditional bobber that a lot of us started with. Moms and pops, they go and get us these bobbers when we're little kids, and they put a worm on a hook and a bobber, and usually it's a fixed bobber. And today I'm going to show you a different way of fishing with a different type of bobber that has a lot of pluses, a lot of good qualities to it, and it's called the slip bobber. And they come in various sizes, but in this video we'll be talking about a certain size, a bobber that will help you catch crappie, bluegills, walleyes, bass, different types of species, not just bluegill, panfish, but it'll put the odds in your favor. So I hope you kids enjoy this video. You guys, if you haven't checked out my Walmart video of my clearance deals that I totally take advantage, check it out. It's awesome. You'll see a lot of stuff that I bought and saved tons of money. But anyways, let's get on with it. The traditional bobber that a lot of us grew up fishing with, and I don't have nothing against them, but there's a couple things that I don't like about them when it comes to catching bigger size fish. You're fishing for panfish, you're fishing for crappies, and all of a sudden bass hits. And you're using 4-pound tests, 6-pound tests, and you're not prepared for this. The traditional bobber is this bobber here. It has a clip on right here that clips onto your line there, and it clips on in the bottom. Well, what I don't like about them is, I can't say I don't like them, but I just want to put the odds in my favor, so I use a different bobber, and it's called the slip bobber. Because I found out that if by chance, which it happens a lot, you hang a big fish, a bass, a 2-pound bass, 3-pound bass, a largemouth, a smallmouth, a pike, a walleye, if you're using the 4, 6, and up to, I think I had 8-pound tests, and it busted right where it clips on, right here. That's where it busted. And the reason being, I think, was because number one, you're fishing with small line, 6 to 8-pound tests at the most, but usually it's 4 to 6-pound tests. It's because you fray your line when you clip it. When you clip the line right there, when it clips onto it, you fray it, you cause abrasion to it. So we all grew up using these bobbers, and like I said, I don't have nothing against them, but I have a better way of doing it. Fixed bobbers and slip bobbers. The reason a slip bobber is better is because the lightest detection, you know that there's a fish there, and it pretty much prepares you to set the hook. And most of the time when it goes down just a little bit, that fish's got the bait in his mouth. And not only because of that, there's a lot of qualities to a slip bobber as opposed to a fixed bobber. I mentioned in the video that the fixed bobber, you pinch the line, and if you want to move it up and down, you got to undo it, you got to unclip it on both sides. So that's 2 clippings that you're putting on your line. Here, there's no contact with the line.
Reason being is because the line goes in through one end and comes out the other. So there's no contact really with the line. And the detections are better. Reason being is because not all fish strike a bait the same way. Not all fish strike the bait the same way. You have, for instance, crappies. Crappies are funny. When they grab a bait, they grab the bait and they spit it out. Walleyes, crappies, multi-species can be caught on this bobber. On this bobber, not so much, because usually when people are using these bobbers, they're fishing for bluegill, panfish, and stuff like that. Well, when crappies feel resistance, walleyes, and stuff like that, your bobber's just gonna do this. It's gonna be dancing. With this one, try it out. You'll like it. There's a lot of advantages to this. Remember, this isn't a fixed bobber. This, you pull the knot up, you get more depth control. You get deeper. You bring the knot down, you get shallower. So you can fish shallow water and deep water. You're not having to go mess with the clip on the bobber and stuff like that. That's why I said with these bobbers, there's no, if it goes down and slightly even goes down, you know that he's got that bait in his mouth, and it's got a lot of good qualities. No contact with the line. Your line goes through the bobber completely. The fixed knot, the slip knot that it has, it's adjustable. You can adjust it to the depth that you need it. If the fish ain't biting at 2 feet, you want to try 4 feet, adjust it for your bait to be presented at 4 feet. So try them out. You guys will really like them. I'm going to add this to the video that I already made so that it explains things better. As far as the slip bobbers and fixed bobbers, I explained the benefits of a slip bobber and a fixed bobber, but what I didn't explain, there was a part there where I say that the parent looks at the kids and their bobber's going down and they tell the kid, wait till your bobber disappears, wait till your bobber's gone. That's not really right. With these bobbers, you take a risk, and you take a risk on the multi-species part of it, because I'll tell you guys a quick story. A couple years back, I was fishing on the bank, and this lady was fishing close by to me, and she had one of these bobbers, and she had a worm. She threw it out there. She was catfishing, and from the minute I got there and I started fishing, I noticed. I said, you know, I should tell her to set the hook on that fish. I should tell her to set the hook on that fish. And I said, nah, some people don't take it right to be telling them how to fish when they're fishing, you know. So I said, I didn't say anything. And finally it bugged me, you know, and I said, hey, you know, your bobber keeps going down and it disappears and it pops back up and disappears and pops back up. Oh yeah, it's probably just a little bluegill and I'm fishing for catfish. She told me the whole deal. I was cool, you know. So I was like, okay, well, I just was noticing that it go down in the water and pop back up, down in the water and pop back up. And I remember what parents always tell their kid, wait till your bobber disappears and then you set the hook. But don't mess with it if it just goes down and pops back up on the water, on the surface. Don't mess with it until it goes and disappears. Well, if you do that, you miss the chance of catching multi-species. And the story ends like this with the lady. Back to the lady, is when we were getting ready to leave, she was like, this bluegill, it keeps bothering my worm. I said, you should really just set the hook. And the bobber went for about a split second, went under and came back up. She set the hook. It was a 5-pound largemouth bass. So, lesson learned, you know. She had it in her mind that it was bluegills, and a lot of people would think that. You have a worm on a hook, it's probably bluegill. But she was after some catfish, and in that situation, I think that that's why a slip bobber is better. A slip bobber is multi-species bobber. I've made it a habit to fish with a bobber and a little jig. In this case, it's a Roadrunner. Sometimes I tip it with a piece of worm, maybe even artificial worm, but that's the setup there. Here's the bobber, there's the bead, and there's the knot. I've caught all kinds of fish with the slip bobber and a little jig, a 16th ounce jig. Y'all take it easy. See you next time with some more tips.
Pulled it, but it's a little shallower than what I thought. Got him. Little guy. He swallowed the whole plastic though. See, it's just a popping presentation. This is perfect for kids too. You don't lose a lot of equipment with the bobber. And sometimes you catch some nice 16-inch smallies. That's the biggest I've caught like that. I've caught a couple 16-inch with the bobber system. There, I got one taken. No, must have been a bluegill. There, got him. See, the bobber system, it works pretty good. Would work perfect for kids. I hope you guys are learning something. Take your kids fishing. You don't have to take them to a lake. Just find a local river close by, where you got deep water close to shallow water. That's the second one on this little creature bait. Real nice creature bait. And it's just a bobber with a bobber stopper. And I tell you, sometimes you will catch some nice size ones doing this. Not that you wouldn't catch a monster, but it's possible. It all just depends how you present the bait. See the little pops that I give it? It's like a crayfish trying to get away when I do that. It's a little pop, and then you let it sit there and let them think. And you switch directions, because there might be another one over here, the father, the mother. Today I'm going to take this time to show you guys the you know, the Walmart deal I got in the early it wasn't spring yet, it was still winter, but the $7 reel. I'm going to set it up and show you guys a deadly way of catching bass. I've caught bass on poles this small with 4 to 6 pound test, but I'm gonna show you how to rig it up, which is really exciting. And this works perfect for kids if you really want to have them have a lot of fun and fish. Most people go to Walmart and go to different places, not just Walmart, but they go and they buy the biggest bobber they can buy, and really that's not what you're supposed to do. Well, I'm not gonna say you're not supposed to do, but the smaller the bobber, the faster you'll detect the bite. Once you detect the bite, you can let the rod load up, and then you set the hook. And I'm going to show you guys how that's done. Hopefully it's a good video and I can really show you. I'm taking my $7 rod with reel. It's a nice fishing rod, but hey, when you're fishing for panfish, bait, and all that, they catch walleyes with these. They catch big pikes with these. You know, so I mean, don't be afraid to use this. And it came about that it was a great deal at Walmart, and I took advantage of it. Got him. Ooh, there he is. House now. Ooh. There he is. I'm in his house now. Got him. Got him. Got him. That's what I'm talking about right there. That's what I'm talking about right there. Gotta put it in his house. Gotta put it in his house. Gotta put it in his house. Come on. Come on. Smallmouth. That's what I'm talking about. I'm gonna have to go to him. Yeah, here we go. Here we go. See? Told you guys. Get these nice little smallmouths. Look at them. Nice little one. Now, just to get them up. There we go. Nice one. It works. Now tell me, we are recording. Caught it on tape. Dreaming of your next hook set. I told you that would work. Knot, bead, bobber, jig. There it is. Little one. Not no 16-inch, but hey, good one. I want to record the release. Okay. There we go. Little smallie. Nice one. I knew you were in there, buddy. I knew you were in there. I was looking for your dad. There you go. See you later, my friend. That's where you live. Who said these rods don't catch smallmouth? Now y'all know why we bought this $7 deal. It's all worth it. That $7 just paid for itself. Hey everyone, Jeff Garcia from Dreaming of Your Next Hook Set with the slip bobber demonstration. Here's the perfect explanation here, or demonstration, I should say. Well, anyways, let me be more quiet actually. I got a little excited. Basically, what you have is 4-pound test on a small reel 101 Abu Garcia with 4-pound test, a small hook. Actually, this is a 2-time long hook by Eagle Claw. It's a number 6 with a small split shot and a slip bobber. Way better way to fish than with a fixed bobber. Your little knot up here, your bead right here. Your bead helps your bobber not pass the knot up like that. And we're going to demonstrate right now. This is a perfect thing. I've caught many smallmouth bass this way, up to 16 inches, and lost some big ones this way. And a lot of people overlook this method, and they definitely don't fish with 4-pound test like I do, because I've lost some big ones with 4-pound test. And the biggest one I've caught is 16 inches. It was a smallmouth. He was fat, real big and fat, but he was 16 inches. Anyways, it's been with a grub. The only difference is been with a grub instead of a hook and a worm, a live worm. It's been basically like this. Oops. Basically this deal here. Let me see. There's 2 methods. Basically, here let me let go of this. so you can see it better like you see this one. Okay. Basically, there's two ways. Of course, I've caught them on worms too, but not big ones. It's been more bluegills and stuff like that. But here's the two deadly setups. If you want to teach your kids how to catch bass and bluegill and everything, use the slip bobber. I'm not being promoted or anything like that or doing a promotion thing here. I'm just telling you facts. Anyways, and for bass, I use this setup. Nothing different. The jig, it's a little jig head from South Bend, little grub, a crappie grub, a bobber, a bead, and a knot to stop the bobber and to keep depth control. That's what the knot really helps you to keep depth control, and when you get the strikes, you really see it right away. So try this, guys, and you parents that, man, you want your kids to catch bass too, not just bluegills. Try this. It works in a lot of places, and you'll love it. You'll love it. You'll definitely go from a fixed bobber to this deal here, a slip bobber, because it's way different. It's a whole different game. Plus, you get time to set the hook, all that. It's awesome. But we're gonna give it a go here with the worm. Let me put this up because I don't have a lot of running water here, and this does better in running water. Like in current, it does a lot better. I mean, I've caught walleyes too with it, so. Got me a worm. Got my bobber set up. Depth control, about 2 feet. And now I'm going to present the bait. Here we go. Bang, got him already. Look at him, the minute it got in there. Look at that, look at the size of that. I hope you guys are watching. See, found the bluegills. You have to move. Just because you're not getting bit doesn't mean, see, I was wrong about the gulp, but we're gonna try the gulp here in a minute. Just because you're not catching them doesn't mean that they're not biting. There it is, right there. As soon as I threw in there. Try it again. Boom, got him. The minute it got in there, we know where they're at, don't we? And guess what? It's another bluegill. You know exactly where they're at. Look at that. Beautiful. Throw them back in. Bam, got him. Ooh, nice one. Hold on, buddy. I'm gonna let you go. Another nice one. Tell me I done caught the aggressive ones. And that's it. Oh no, the aggressive ones, look at that. Clean me out. Aggressive ones. Let's try it again. Yeah, this is what I'm gonna do. Move the split shot a little bit higher, because maybe it's spooking the big ones. There it is. Got him. Got him. They hit him furious. Another pretty one. Another pretty one. Might be very shallow there. Got him. Got him. There we go. Slip bobbers. They work. Wouldn't be surprised if a bass grabs this. It's happened many times to me. Many times. Try this one more time. Got him. Nice one. There it is. Got him. One after the other. Found the location. That's the same thing with bass fishing. Just because they were there yesterday, that doesn't mean they're going to be there today. That's a fact. Ooh. Whoa, got him the minute it landed. Green sunfish this time. Green sunfish. And they almost got the worm off. So, gotta put the worm back on here the right way. Or your next cast, you might come back with nothing. Just toss it way out there. Wow, the bobbler's on its side over there. Must be shallow. Got him. A little bit better one. What a very pretty fish. Look at that. A very pretty fish. It doesn't give them see, that's like 25 feet there. So the setting the hook there is a little tougher. That's why I missed that one. Alright, this is going to be it, guys. This is the last cast on the bluegill. On the bluegill bite. Green sunfish again. Nope, bluegill this time. There's the setup. And the bobber that we'll be referring to today will be this one. This bobber right here. It's 7/8 in diameter and it's 2 inches long. So it's a pretty nice bobber, and it has a certain split shot you use for it when you're using a worm. Basically just a worm to fish for bluegill, panfish, whatever. When you're using basically live bait, you use this bobber right here. I'm going to set everything up, and I'll show you my Walmart special, the $7 reels that I talk about on Walmart. Check out that video too. Here's the two different setups. You got a knot, a bead, a knot and a bead, and they sell this together. When you buy your knots with your beads, it's a bobber stopper. They come with the bead already. The package comes with a bead. What happens is that bead is pushed up to the knot and it stops the bobber. The cool thing about this, well, before let me explain it all to you. It's the knot, the bead, the bobber. The bead serves to stop the bobber from going any further. when it crashes into the knot. Then you have a little split shot, a certain size. Then you have a certain size hook. This hook is an ideal hook from Eagle Claw. It's made by Eagle Claw, and I love this hook because ever since I changed to this hook, I basically you don't really harm the fish with this hook. It's a really nice hook. It's big enough. It's 2 times long, and I have the number for that hook too. I have the size and everything. It's made by Eagle Claw. Awesome hook. I'm telling you, and it helps with conservation measure. So the best, if you cannot find this hook, there's 2 hooks that you can use that are really nice. But it's, excuse me, a motorcycle. But anyways, it's made by Eagle Claw, and it's the 072A size 6, 2 times long. There it is. That is an awesome hook. But here's the other hook too. Let me not take, this is the hook that I use, the awesome hook. And this is the other hook that you can get. This one is 100A6, 1 time long. So the 2 time long is better. They don't swallow it. It's very hard for them to swallow it. But anyways, oh, let me show you too. I got to brag too. My 50-cent gulp worms to catch panfish, crappies, bass too. People didn't know, but I've caught bass on them. And here's my power bait one. They're just little balls that you put on the hook that you can add as scent. If they're not biting the artificial, you can add to the artificial, which I'll show you that rod here in a minute. But right now we're talking the live bait one, okay? So, anyways, and I'm gonna put a picture of the packaging of the slip bobbers. You can find them at Walmart. There's all kinds of places you can order them too, but basically they come in packages like this, and they already come with beads. You can find them at Walmart, like I said. Here's the beads. There. Okay? So we went over the beads, the hooks, the knots, the bobbers. Now we're going to get into the split shot, because when you're using live bait, you're usually fishing for, well, I can't really say just for panfish, because like I said, I've hung bass, big bass on this, like 2 pounds, 3 pounds, and once or twice, well, let me see, about 2 times I had a big bass. But like I said, occasionally you will hang some big fish on this setup. People use this a lot for walleye fishing, this setup right here with the slip bobber. The cool thing about the slip bobber, which is the most critical thing and the most nice thing about it, it's not a fixed bobber. You don't clip it on the line and it sits there until you unclip it. You move the knot up further, your bobber goes up further. What does that do? That gives you depth control. How does that work? It works like this. If you're throwing your bait out there, kids, pay attention. If you're throwing your bait out there and you're not getting bit, your bobber's not going down, and you've had it there for a while and you're not move your knot up, loosen your line up. You'll probably be using a longer rod than this. These rods are perfect for anywhere where you're casting 10 feet from the bank. After 10 feet, it's hard to set the hook on these rods. These were really made for ice fishing. I use them because they're easy to pack. I can throw it in the car, the truck, leave it in there, and any pond that I see, I want to see if they got bluegill, panfish, or whatever, I stop, and I got this little pole that's not in the way in the car. But anyways, back to the knot. The knot, you can just simply grab it and move it up. What does that do? Your bobber goes up in the water column when you toss it out there. There it is. It goes up and it stops right there. Now you got 2 feet to search for those panfish, bluegills. I've even caught catfish on this. I've caught catfish on this system. So it's something that's unbelievable, and I want to share with you guys. I wanted to share this with your kids, so that way you guys can have fun on the water and not start pitching rocks in the water and stuff because you're bored, because you're not catching nothing, or that big bobber just keeps going down when you bring it in and that worm's gone. Go to a slip bobber, you'll detect the bite so fast. You'll have depth control with it, which is very, very important to have depth control, because now you can cover big areas of water. You can cover
2 feet, 4 feet, 5 feet, 6 feet. You can cover different depths. So that'll be really nice. And I tell you what, you have to check out that Walmart video. Don't lose the opportunity and always check in the clearance aisle. I only paid $7 for this setup. And guess what was really nice too? I paid $7 for the reel, the rod, and then what the good thing about it, I paid 50 cents for artificial baits. 50 cents for these. They're usually $3-4, and in some places $5. Check out this line. Tons of line for 50 cents. 50 cents. You get 100 yards of 8-pound tests. 8-pound tests. It says 75 cents. When I got to the register, they were 50 cents. Great. There it is. Different poundage. If you see it, take advantage of it. Parents, if you see it, take advantage of it, because your kids are going to go through a lot of it. But anyways, here it is. I've explained the system to you guys. What I haven't showed you yet is the weight, which is very important. Why? The weight is also important because of this reason. Okay, when you cast it out, you want your bobber to be in the water like this, straight up and down, vertical. If your bobber's leaning on the side, your bait is dragging the bottom. You don't want to drag the bottom with your bait. The reason you don't want to drag the bottom, if you see your bobber like this, you need to bring your knot down towards the bobber. Why? Because wherever you're casting is too shallow. And what's going to happen is you're going to get your line caught up down there. You're going to lose your hook, you're going to lose your weight, and most important, your slip bobber. You don't want to lose your slip bobber. This is your weapon here. This is the most important part of it. So you don't want to lose it. So if you see your bobber laying on its side or going down the water like this on its side, it's dragging the bottom. And that little nice live bait hook is going to get hooked on something. So make sure that your bobber is always straight up and that it meets the knot, like this. That way you know that you're suspended from the bottom. You want to be suspended from the bottom. For those of you that don't know what that means, okay? What you want to do is you want to make sure your bait is not dragging the bottom. Once you make bottom contact, let's say you throw your bait out there and your bobber is leaning on its side, what you do simply is bring your knot back down towards the hook. Bring it down, and what's going to happen is going to go straight up like this, because you're not dragging the bottom no more. But another important key is the size of your split shot. You don't want a big split shot, because if you get a big split shot and put it on here, what's going to happen, it's going to sink your bobber in the water. The size of split shot that works for this size bobber right here, guys, this size bobber is these right here. You get them at Walmart. It's the PSS 7. It comes in 30 count, 90 something cents. It's a split shot. It's this size right there. That goes perfect with this. Like I said, I've caught catfish, bass, crappies, striped bass, you name it. I've caught carps. I've caught carps on this system too. You put your corn right on there. The corn thread's perfect on this hook, and you'll detect the bites so fast. Okay, now we're gonna go to an artificial setup. Very similar to this, artificial setup. That's what the whole setup would look like. Knot, bead, bobber, split shot, and your nice Eagle Claw hook. Eagle Claw did a good job when they made this hook, I have to say. And I'm not saying this because I want everybody to buy Eagle Claw. No, because maybe Mustad or maybe Owner or other brands make a hook just as good. But this is the one that I found to work the best so far. It's an offset hook. If you see it, it's an offset hook. It's offset to the side, so it's very hard for them to swallow this hook. Oh, let me show you the hooks one more time, just so y'all get a good idea. There it is. Hooks, bobber, and the split shot for your live bait rig. Okay, this system is basically the same. It's basically the same. Actually, this is 4-pound test. So anyways, you got your knot, you got your bead, your slip bobber for depth control, awesome. And then you got this little jig right here.
This little jig, it's a 16th ounce jig with a crappie grub. This is a crappie grub. I'll put the brand on the description for you guys. It has a paddle tail. Where I learned about this was there was a guy, an old timer, fishing on the river, and he was catching walleyes. I mean, he showed me his little picture. He had a book full of pictures of all the fish he's caught on this jig and this grub right here. Different colors of grubs too. Okay, so it was this grub. It had a little paddle tail. Showed me walleyes, smallmouth. I mean, 4-pound smallmouth. A big flathead. He caught a big flathead on this. I want to say about 15 pounds. Caught it on this system here, the slip bobber system with a little jig, 16th ounce jig. It's a 16th ounce jig, and it's made by, I had said South Bend, but I was wrong these are Southern Pro Tackle. I don't know if they're still around because I bought them a couple years back. Southern Pro Tackle. The cool thing about it that with the slip bobber and the depth control, you won't lose as many. That's another thing, that this system will save you money, because as long as your bobber ain't leaning to the side, like I told you guys, you're not gonna get hung up and lose your bobber, which I think Walmart, the bobbers, is 2 bobbers for almost $3. Well, that's what I'm talking about. With this system, it works pretty good. But anyways, this is the artificial, I call it the artificial weapon of mine, but it's real nice. And I have a clip that I'm gonna show you guys. Like, I'm catching a bass with this system. I'm gonna add it to the video. That stuff, I'll let you peek in the box that I got. Okay, I'll show you a couple little bugs and stuff that I buy sometimes just to attract them, to show you guys. It's this setup right here. Get a good look. Maybe take a still picture of it off of YouTube. Check it out. All those little bugs, I mean, crayfish, these little bugs that a lot of people see me handling them on the river, and they're like, what is that? They think it's real. No, and you can go online and find all these type. Oh, they love this color here. Man, they love that color. Once it starts getting dark, for some reason, they'll bite the black ones. Smallies love these. The little tubes, everybody knows crappies are caught on tubes. This tube right here, it's caught me so many fish. This tube right here, man, it's unbelievable. But you got little crayfish, little crayfish like that. I mean, stuff like this, you'd be surprised. Sometimes I take old Sinkos, cut them in half, cut the backs end of them, and they work really good. Let me show you the other box. Now, when you get into the minnow size, 2-inch, that's when them bass really start hitting, because a lot of people fish for bass with minnows. In case y'all didn't know, kids, a lot of people fish with minnows. So what do? I got minnows too. I'm prepared. I got minnow size. And this is when I've noticed that I've hung bass. Like the 2 big bass that I lost was on minnow type baits like this. These I got a Bass Pros. Real nice. Stuff like this. Real nice. I even got the silver, all silver with the gray backs like that. Real nice ones. I got the leeches. I use a leech sometimes. Just a leech. I nose hook it. I got these minnows that you can get at Walmart. Right there. More crappie minnows. That's a lot of action right there. Here, I'll show you the box. There it is. Now to get to the type of the spoons that I was telling you, the Roadrunners. A lot of people know the Roadrunners, and man, have they gone up in price. So if you get those on clearance, jump on those, because they catch you a lot of fish, those Roadrunners. It's unbelievable. The storm baits, these catch you fish too. Let me show you the Roadrunners. Here's a tube one. This was created by Bill Dance, which is a really nice one. A real nice one. Here's the Roadrunners in different colors. But here's the Roadrunners. These catch you some bass like you wouldn't believe. But these, you'd be surprised what you hang on these. And you've seen shows too on TV where they catch a bass on these. The crappie guys that fish for the crappies, they'll tell you some of these jigs are, oh man, they're unbelievable, these jigs. Well, anyways, they got them in white, they got them different sizes. I mean, I mean, here's some bigger ones. This is how big they go. They got them pretty big, guys. I mean, 16th ounce to, I think, quarter ounce. I'm not very sure. I've seen Roadrunners, but there's that right there. They work really nice. But anyways, and then all you know about the crappie, the little crappie jig, the little crappie jigs, those, everybody knows about them. They're pretty pricey. The hair jigs with the spoon, look at those. The hair jigs with the spoons, those are nice too. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoy this video and you catch a lot of fish. We're gonna take the time and rig one up real quick. I'll put the reel on here. Go ahead and try to move some of this stuff out of the way so it don't get on the way, in the way. Rig one up because a lot of people make this mistake. I've made the mistake myself. So we're gonna go ahead and do it right now, right here. I got the time if you got the time. So we're gonna go ahead and do it. Let me just, I like to be somewhat organized here. Okay, put this over there. Okay, let's tighten this up. I hope you guys are enjoying this video because you're gonna catch a lot of fish. I'll tell you that. With the slip bobber, you'll love it. Anyways, you start off, open your bell, unhook your line. When you unhook your line, it's a good thing that where you unhook your line, you see this part of the reel? We always put the line in there. Well, that frays the line too, so don't go using that piece. What you do right away is first loosen the drag so you can pull the line easy off of the reel, like that. And you take this piece of line, okay? Take this piece of line and you cut it, because you know you clipped it. Right there's the problem with it. So you clip it. Never throw garbage where you fish. Put it in the garbage can. If you don't want to lose your fishing spots, respect where you're fishing, enjoy where you're fishing, and you'll enjoy it for a long time, guys. Take care of it. If you go to a spot, don't be the type of person, I didn't make that trash there, I didn't leave that trash there, I'm gonna leave it there. If you fish there and you love that fishing spot and you love to fish, period, it only takes a couple seconds to put it in a bag and put it in the garbage and you'll be able to fish there. Not everybody feels that way, but I tell you what, it helps to keep fishing spots. I've seen so many good fishing spots, all of a sudden a sign, you can't fish there. It's private property. No signs like that before, but because of people not respecting and trashing the place up, that happens. So if you find it in your heart, just remember what I said and you'll understand. When you fish there for years and you catch fish, but always put the line, the garbage in the garbage. When you open your little hook packets and they're empty, put them in the garbage and you'll fish there for a long time. Anyways, let's get back to it. All right, so you run your line through your eyes of your pole. Everybody knows that, okay? And here's the critical thing that I've made this mistake before, and I kind of felt, after years of using them, I kind of felt dumb. But anyways, I want to show you something that, man, I'm sure a lot of people have done this. They've made this mistake. Okay, first deal. We take the little knot out. We get you a little knot and a bead. Okay, knot and a bead. Okay, here we go. My hands are a little shaky. You guys are making me nervous. What's the deal? Let's get a yellow one that you can really see. Okay, what you do, this has a little tubing here. This tubing here needs to be removed. Well, how many times have I removed it and removed it to removed the knot to the bottom towards the hook and left the tubing on this side? It doesn't go that way, because then you have a little tube always dangling in front of your bobber and your bead and stuff. So what you do is you pull the knot towards the rod. The knot goes towards the rod this way, like that. So you can remove that tubing and put it in the garbage where it belongs. Don't throw it on the ground. Don't do that. Then what you do is you just tighten the knot. It don't matter. You can tighten it real tight because that's a slip knot. That knot's going to slide through the line regardless how much you tighten it. Then comes your bead. And you take your little bead, okay? Get you a bead. A lot of these come with beads that are very, you can see them. Here's the bead. Then comes the bead. Remember, the knot. Oops, the knot. And then your bead. Here comes the bead. There have to be a decision made here real soon. Are you fishing artificial or are you fishing worms today? Or minnows, whatever. But this is what that looks like at this point. Here's the eye of your pole. It's going towards the pole, both of these. Now comes the bobber, okay? The bobber. Remember what I said about the bobber? It has a hole through the top, it comes out the bottom. That's what lets it slip, okay? So you put your bobber in there. "31 minutes. It's gonna be a nice video. Okay, let me reel this in a little bit and definitely tighten the drag. That's another reason. Don't ever forget to tighten your drag. I've had fish bite and loose a nice fish because I didn't tighten the drag. I forgot to. But anyways, let's bring this knot down so we can see our product, our almost finished product. Our hook's gonna go there, or our artificial jig. If you add an artificial jig, you don't need a weight because the jig is already weighted. The jig is a jig. It's what I was showing you guys. Here it is. Let me show you real quick. It's already got lead built into the hook. I believe I showed you, but on the other pole, but I'll show you again. Take a few seconds to teach somebody that this will change things. So put the odds in your favor. You'll have a good time fishing. You won't have to sit there and say, well, what do I do now? I'm not catching fish anymore. Or I'm not catching fish. Remember the little jig that I was telling you about? There it is, 16th ounce jig, okay? Nice jig. I forget who makes them. I always forget. Southern Pro Tackle. That's why I kept the little packaging thing. Southern Pro Tackle is the one that makes it. It's jig heads, okay? So, in this case, if we want to go with artificial with this pole, we'll go with the jig. If we don't want to, then you go with the split shot like right around there, about 5 inches from where the hook goes, and then your hook. And that's your setup. That's your setup. Your little sinker, so it can keep the bobber straight up and down, and then your Eagle Claw hook, the 072A, size 6, 2 times long, real nice hook. In this setup, since we're gonna go ahead and let's do artificial so I can show you how to thread the grub on here, okay? You guys, you're gonna like this. Okay, so you tie your jig. You're not gonna need a split shot, remember that, okay? So kids, you're gonna have fun with this setup. You're gonna have fun. I still haven't figured out what I'm gonna name this video. You wet the line a little bit so you don't burn it, fray it. Okay, it's nice and tight. And here's your finished product. There's your bobber coming down to your jig. Boom, there you go. You don't need no weight. Now the bobber that I usually use for this jig, remember I did say it's a little bit smaller, so I don't know if this is gonna make this one stand straight up. I haven't tried that one, but this is the one that I use for this jig, a 16th ounce jig. So we'll see if it works. You'll follow me here. We'll toss it here in the water in a minute, but this is the product. It's a slip bobber. These little tags, you can cut them a little bit because you're gonna need to tighten the knot because they do come loose a little bit. They never come off, they just come loose. Okay, let's cut these off with these nice cutters.
These are some really nice cutters, even for braid. Check those out when you guys get a chance. Nice little cutters. And this is what you got here. You got 2 little arms to tighten it. That's why you don't want to cut too much. You want to leave enough tag ends on there so you can tighten the knot. You see, the knot easily moves up and easily moves down. Okay? There's your jig. It'll be in the water column. You see how it stops the bobber from moving? See that? Okay, so I'm gonna adjust it a little bit. Go up about 1 foot, and there's your jig. There's your bobber. Let's put a grub on it. I'm gonna pick. It's getting dark right now, so I'm gonna pick one that has a paddle tail that's yellow, chartreuse they call it. Okay, go ahead and thread this on. When you thread this on, an ideal thing to get more action out of your little grub, you thread it on like this, not the traditional way, like this. You thread it on like this, okay? Upside down, so to speak. What I usually do is I bite the head off so it fits better on the jig. So you don't have to do that, but I do it. I like it. It just has a better action. Never throw your garbage, remember that, guys. Okay, here's the jig. Since you're gonna thread it on backwards, like this, find the center, okay? And make sure you find the center. You thread it through there as best as you can. You bring it out, you push it forward, and it's locked in. Look at that, perfect. Got it perfect the first time. That doesn't always happen, guys. But anyways, here you go. And you see, in the water column, man, I'm telling you, once it gets in the water, that action is totally different than the traditional way, the other way around, the way it's supposed to be rigged. But you'll see what I mean. Okay. Anyways, here it is, right here. There's your knot. Oops, let me get the rod out of your way. There's the knot, the bead, and the bobber. There it is. Let's go try it out and see. Why don't you follow me with this camera? Hi everyone, Jeff Garcia here with Dreaming of Your Next Hook Set with the bobber, the slip bobber demonstration. Slip bobber. Ooh, look at what we got. Okay, that's what we got. This right here, when you catch these are awesome. Awesome for channel catfish. This actual size right here. Let them go. Little sinker underneath the bobber. Let's bring the knot back down just to demonstrate. The bobber hits the water, it goes up, and the knot stops it from going any further, gives you your depth. The bobber goes up, the knot stops it, the knot in the bead, and that gives you your depth of how far you want your worm. Now let's try it. Let's see the bait down further to him. So you bring the knot up. You bring the knot up, tighten it. Now you got more depth. There it goes. That's a Walmart special. So a good set of scissors. Like these, a good set of them, work perfect. And it might be that the knot's too high or too low. There they are, there they are. That's where they're at. Got him. Oh, man, did he take off. Look at that. Look at that. Look at the size of this bluegill on a slip bobber. Look at the size of that guy.
There we go. Y'all have a nice day. Take those kids fishing. Teach them about the slip bobber and the knot too. The slip knot with the bobber system, with the weight and the hook. Slip knot, bead, bobber, split shot, worm for bluegills. The other way around is the other option you have for bass, to catch bass and walleye and everything, is basically a knot, a bead, a bobber, and a jig head, a little jig head with a little grub, like a little crappie grub. That's another option. You guys take it easy. I'm Jeff Garcia. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Bye-bye.